Hello, my name is John, and today we're in the cockpit of the L-39C again. In this video I want to show you how to fire the air-to-air missiles. The air-to-air missiles are the only type of air-to-air weapon available to this aircraft, as it doesn't carry any gun or any other suitable weapon type. The missile itself is the R3S air-to-air missile, which is comparable to a AIM-9 or a very early AIM-9, like the one you carry on the F-86 Sabre. It has a very short range. You shouldn't fire it at a distance more than 2 kilometers. It can only sustain a low G load, so you don't want to fire at a maneuvering target, and it can only be used rear aspect, so don't try to fire at the target heads on. Anyway, let's get into the setup of the missile system. Down here we have the master weapon panel, or the master weapon control panel, and we have to flip a couple of switches. The first thing I usually like to turn on is the ASB FK switch, which turns on the gun sight and the gun camera. And I usually turn on the gun sight on the ground because I like to have the symbology on there. Not sure, I just don't like to fly around with this thing turned off. Anyway, that's just me. You can turn on the gun sight whenever you want, but it's up to you. The next thing we want to switch on is the master arm switch. We usually would do that when fencing in, and when fencing in we also want to turn on the heat SS switch, which will enable the heating system for the missiles, and we also want to turn on the glow SS switch, which will turn on the seeker itself, as you can hear by the seeker sound. The seeker sound itself can be adjusted by this knob here. You can make it louder or less louder depending on your preferences. I'll turn it down a bit so it doesn't get disturbing. And another switch we want to consider for the missiles is the port or starboard switch, which allows us to either select the left hand missile or the right hand missile to be fired first. And I will leave it in the lower position, which will select the right hand missile to be fired first. Anyway, that's all the switches we need to flick to get our aircraft ready. We can also set the gun sight if you would like so. We can set the target wingspan, and we can adjust the range. Not really a point in doing that for the air-to-air missiles though, because they are not using any information from the gun sight. And one more thing to consider is the save switch on the stick. You have to enable that for all the weapons, not only for the air-to-air missiles. But without enabling the save switch, or basically overriding the save switch, you cannot fire. And you can either do that by a key command on your joystick or by pressing left control and space. And you have to flick it down for the trigger to become working. If it's in the up position, the trigger doesn't work. So let's leave it up. I usually like to leave it up until I get within visual identification range, so I know, well, the target is hostile. I definitely want to kill it, and then I will flick down the safeguard and engage. So let's spawn in the target aircraft we want to engage at, and let's unpause. And you can also see the stand alert light. That means that the master arm is on. And below that is the no launch light, which illuminates right now. And as you can see, it illuminates when you pull more than 2 Gs. So you cannot fire the air-to-air missiles when pulling too much G, or actually not when pulling more than 2 Gs. So don't be expecting to use them in a turning fight. Like with any other air-to-air missile, infrared guided air-to-air missile, you can hear the seeker head tone through your headphones, and you can make out or find out when the seeker is locked by the sound it makes. Currently it's locked. If I break away a bit, you can hear it goes to the searching state again. So let's turn back into the target. Let's get another lock. The lock zone is quite big, so when it gets close to the HUD, okay, I said the lock zone is quite big. Yeah, there we go. It can track for quite a couple of degrees. I think it's about 20 degrees to all directions it can track, and it will lock in the middle of the outer circle, kind of obtain a lock within that. Anyway, let's get a bit closer to the target. We can also zoom in a bit so we can make out the target. Yeah, the aircraft is an enemy transporter. We definitely want to engage that. We don't want the goods to be delivered. So let's flick down the master safety on our stick so our trigger works. And once we get a bit closer, we'll hold down the weapon release. And there we go, Fox missile is going off. And hopefully connects. Was probably a high range shot, but yeah, on a normal moving target it will hit. There we go. Target is hit. We will flick down or flick up the sight selector so we get the other sight selected as well. And we will see, can we get another lock maybe? No, probably not causing any or producing any heat output anymore. But however, oh no, never mind, it's still locked, so I guess we can fire. Yeah, there we go. Sorry, me confusing the not locked and locked sound. And there we got another hit. The warhead is quite small, so we didn't do too much damage on that bird, and we cannot re-engage because we don't have any other weapons left. But on a smaller target, the missiles probably will do some more damage. And yeah, that's all about the air-to-air missile employment. If you have any more questions, feel free to ask them in the comments or wherever you like. And see you in the next video. Until then, fly safe and have a good flight.